This session is one of the most unique. You know, when you have an interaction with someone, it's kind of one-on-one. And today we happened to host a team from URA. URA is short for Uganda Revenue Authority. Yeah, sorry, it had skipped my mind. So Uganda Revenue Authority, and they will be taking us through how we can build scalable businesses, how we can build businesses that are compliant. I remember in March we hosted a team from URSB who shared with us on how we can register and all the processes and all the requirements that we need to register our ventures. And I remember that evening, I had some few voices coming from the community, had some few voices coming from the team that was here. They were like, can we have URA come to share with us what do we need to have something that can really grow, to how we can be compliant to taxes, and how, understanding what tax is, especially for us as beginners, especially for us people who are venturing into the businesses and young innovators as well. And well, that promise is fulfilled, and the team is here, and they will be sharing with us. Before I go any further, I would like to introduce to you Founders Day Cafe, which is a monthly event that normally happens here every first Friday of the month. We didn't have it on 1st of May because it was a holiday, so we extended it 1 week forward. And, but every first Friday of the month, we are always here, and we normally bring different speakers, we normally bring different individuals, and individuals who are specifically building in Imbalala, individuals who have businesses in Imbalala, individuals who have failed and who have grown, who have built businesses from scratch, who have pivoted, and who have seen how you can grow your business. And they normally share with us their journeys, they normally share with us what challenges they normally face during their journeys, building businesses, and how they have pivoted from the initial idea and to what they are building right now. And this normally encourages us, especially as young innovators, as builders in the ecosystem, on how we can navigate those kind of challenges, on how we can build sustainable businesses based on the experiences from other people who are building around. However, we realize it is important to engage authorities or bodies that help us to build the businesses in the region. And that is URSB, that is URA, and so many other institutions like UCC, which we plan to reach out in a few months to come and have them share with us what regulations do we need, what licensing do we need to build our ventures, to build different ventures. And for that, the Founders Day Cafe is organized by Just Tech Solutions in collaboration with Hive Colab. Hive Colab is, all right, Nelson will talk about it. We have a community lead from Hive Colab. He is us here. We will talk about Hive Colab. But I will speak about Just Tech Solutions. We are a software company that help businesses to build their tech solutions, to build them fast and ship them easily and spend less while building these solutions. And we also do capacity building. If you have your team, they are not tech-enabled, or maybe they have challenges with computers, we normally reach out to these institutions and guide them and support their teams to have the right skills for business growth. As you all may know, the current ecosystem, the current era that we are in, requires at least a little bit knowledge on technology, using computers, because acceleration and productivity now relies on how tech-enabled you are. With those few, I don't want to waste a lot of time because we are already past time. Allow me to invite the community lead from Hive Colab to share with us about what Hive Colab is and what it can do for us and why we are here as well, and also welcome us because this space is for Hive as well. Thank you. Thank you, Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. My name is Mugume Nelson. I'm the community lead here at Hive Colab. A warm welcome to our distinguished guest speaker, Madam Grace Ayebazibwe, and her colleague, and all the participants for joining us. And we are very, very happy to be with you, to be with us here today. And we look forward to an engaging and inspiring session. Hive Colab is an innovation hub that was established in 2012. And actually what we basically do, we use technology to solve local challenges in 4 thematic objectives. One being technology for governance, technology for agriculture, technology for education, technology for finance, and technology for health. And we, like the previous speaker said, Founders Day Cafe is organized to bring our ecosystem together, to connect, to collaborate, as well as learning. With that, I thank you all for being here, and I wish you well. Thank you.
Thank you, Nelson, for your welcome note. And this time around, I will let each and every one of us introduce themselves so as we can get started. I will start from, I love to start from the back, so I'll start from the back. You introduce your name and what you're doing or building. Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Agaba Anthony. I deal in supply of medical equipment. Besides that, I'm a music teacher and also do research. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Singwira Alvin. I'm a teacher, teach graphics, 3D, animations, and I work with Trevia. It's a company which deals in that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So those who need 3D graphics, what's your name again? Arvin is here. All right.
Good evening, everyone. I'm by the names of Mr. Mugisha Ronald, a scholar and a lecturer. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Kabuga Henry, and I work with Topnotch Media. We do live streaming, which we are actually doing right now for this event. We do graphics designing, we do internships, video production, photography, and so much more in the field of media and journalism. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Natura Esther, and I'm a student at Bishop Stewart University.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ayebazibwe Hilda, a student at Bishop Stewart University.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anwar Shafiq Kamoga, a student at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, doing mechanical industrial engineering.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nalukwago Hadija, student at Mbarara University of Science and Technology, offering a bachelor's in software engineering.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Devin Itaji, and I work with Canon Safaris Limited.
Good evening. I'm Nyamale Joy. I'm a lab assistant in a food lab. And yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Namara Peace, and I'm a student at Bishop Stewart University.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rona Tumwizere, a social worker by profession, but I currently run a perfume business. We deal in oil perfumes and designer perfumes, mostly online, but we have some pickup points in town here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Akandana Onesimus, a student of computer science at Mbara University of Science and Technology. Happy to be with you here.
I'm called Rona Kakuru, working with Topnotch TV.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tadia Katumwehe. I work at Women in Technology Uganda. It is a space for young women. We give them digital skills for free.
I'm called Grace Francis. Work as a DSR, Kakoba Contact. At the same time, a student at MAST.
Thank you, everyone. That was a very interesting intro, and I'm happy to meet you all. Once again, my name is Joseph Mahanguzi. I'm a software engineer and co-founder at Just Tech Solutions. And for our guests, I think for them, they will come last since they are very special. But I want us to do something very quick. I've done this before, so for those who have been here, you know, but I will do it again for the purposes of, for us to remind ourselves and see where we are at. So I will start with a question, and this is exclusive of our visitors. So question number one, how many of us have national ID? No. First one, how many of us are 18 years? Yeah, keep your hand up, yeah? If you have your national ID, keep your hand up. If you don't have, put your hand down. Okay, if you have a passport, keep your hand up. If you don't have, put it down. A passport. If you have a driver's license, put your hand up. Keep your hand up. If you don't have, put it down. Okay, you wait. Those who have ever traveled outside Uganda, any of East African countries, no, anywhere in the world. No. If you have put your hand down already, don't put it up. Okay, those who have ever traveled in East Africa, keep your hands up. No. If you have put your hand down, don't put it up again. All right, thank you. We have one person who has all the requirements. And I want us to learn something from that. What does that teach us? Anyone who can answer that? What does that teach? What did you learn? What lesson did you learn from that? Yes?
Preparedness.
Preparedness, very good. Who else? Who has a different perspective? All right, so let's assume right now we have an investor. He wants to invest in your business. He wants to invest in your startup or whatever you are working on. But they want you to travel to any country, but you don't have a passport. Or maybe there is a job waiting for you, but they want you to have a driver's license. You see how you miss an opportunity. So preparedness is very important, is very key to many opportunities. Yeah, and also these things, for example, having a national ID is free. A passport, if you are not in a hurry, it's 150, I think, 250. Yeah, so takes like 3 months, so you can do it in 1 week. You see, so driver's license, a little bit expensive, but something that really necessary. So when you are prepared, okay, you don't miss an opportunity. If you have your business, now I was speaking generally on how you can be prepared as an individual, but let's look at it in a perspective of a business. You have your business, and a company, let's say Hive Colab, wants to partner with you to do something, but you are not registered, you are not compliant to taxes, you are not licensed. That is, I recently in those years, they used to call it a red flag, but that's a red flag in business, because we cannot partner with you if you don't have all these components, because these are the components that build businesses. And for that reason, that's why we normally engage with institutions like URSB, URA, to help us learn and understand what it takes, what do I need. Most of us, including me, I used to think that registration is so expensive until I registered my business. And I used to think that being compliant to taxes is so expensive, I need to pay huge amounts of taxes, until I did mine. So today, I want you to be prepared with a lot of questions and ask these questions to the right people who will give us the right answers that we are looking for. And ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce our team that are joining us today from URA, to tell us who they are, and then we can begin from there. I'll start from here.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Albert Msinguzi. By training, I'm a software engineer like most of you, but a taxman. I will, with URA, I do compliance. Now, there is something small I would like to share, which you've hinted about, and it is preparedness. When I had just finished university, I got an opportunity to apply for a job. I always wanted to be in telecom. I did interviews, I passed very well. Now, our last interview was, we were given pickups. Many people missed the opportunities because their driving permits could not make 3 years. There are some things we always see and we take for granted, but they are really, really important. Until that day when you need it, you will never know how important it is. These passports, the opportunities which come about, now you'll start getting the hassle of getting it very fast, but if you can afford these things that don't expire or which take a long time, you get it. That is all.
Good evening. I'm Grace Ayebazibwe. By training, I'm a statistician and I'm a tax collector. I work here at Mbara as a domestic taxes officer, and I hope to learn from you, and I hope you learn from us too. And I look forward to a warm engagement.
Thank you, our dear guests, and I think I will give the mic to you, and we talk about how we can build and how we can be compliant to the taxes, and tell us which taxes, especially we are looking at someone who's beginning. I am starting up, let's say I'm a recent graduate, or I have my company, I want to start, but what should I look out to? What requirements do I need to be a compliant institution that runs business, and also to understand what tax is itself? Because including me, most of us here, we don't understand what tax is and why should I pay taxes. Thank you. Should I start from? Okay, all right, okay.
I wanted to first get expectations from the team, so that we don't run around what they do not want to. Sure. Yeah, let's get expectations, then we respond to them.
All right. So, well, like I said, today's session, we are going to have an interaction with URA, and this is a taxing body, a tax body, and we want to know your expectations by the end of this session, what do you expect? What should you take home? So this way, we can really, they can really understand where we're coming from and how they can answer our questions based on our expectations. I'll start from here, and then the mic can go like this. You want to start? Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. Mine is not an expectation. I don't know if it's okay to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, cause so I would like to know more about filing returns, and if I thought I have a company and it's not yet working that much, so what are the things I should look out for so that I'm not caught off guard? Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Okay. Interesting.
Well, when I hear Uganda Revenue Authority, I think of taxes. And I think I would want to know by the end of the day what taxes I'm supposed to pay, and or what taxes I would have to pay if I did this and this and this. Maybe if I started a business that does this and it's based somewhere, what I would be entitled to, and maybe my rights as a citizen to different tax scenarios. Maybe I failed to pay the taxes or I've taken long. Basically, that's it for me.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? All right.
Okay, so I would like to know, as someone who is already doing business and who hopes to scale up, what are the expectations in regards to taxes? And then also there is this thing of TIN. Is it in relation to URA, or because there is something I purchased and they asked me to go and register TIN, something of that sort. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Anyone else? Or should I take around everyone? Anyone with an expectation? And for the whole session. All right. I think we can begin with those, and then we can expand on that, because we are going to have a Q&A after your communication. All right.
Thank you. I'm very sorry for thinking out loud. I was murmuring with my neighbor here that maybe my curiosity might be uncomfortable for you visitors. I always wonder, why are there big businesses that pay little amounts in taxes and small struggling businesses that are still trying to pick up and are paying higher taxes than the big businesses that are already established? Is there something that we should know? Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting questions. Anyone else? All right, I think we can start from there. All right, let's start with Ms. Grace.
Okay, thank you. And we agreed that we need this session to be as interactive as possible. So our theme, your theme, is tax compliance as a foundation of growth. I would like to understand from you what you understand by tax compliance first before we get into this conversation. What do you understand by tax compliance? Excuse me. And there are some people at the back already get closer.
Can you hear? Okay.
Okay. Anyone? To re-echo her question, she asked, what do we understand by tax compliance? Oh, I'll be the first one to answer. Okay. Well, what I understand by tax compliance, to comply. So I would think that tax compliance is like doing by the tax regulations. That is what I would think. She has an answer. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so for me, I think tax compliance is being able to pay your taxes and in time, as expected.
Okay.
For me, I think it is obedience to the tax laws.
Obedience to tax laws. Anyone else? Anyone else with tax compliance? Guys, complying. Let's comply. Okay.
I'll hand it over to Albert. He's the compliance guru, and the answers are all right. But yeah.
Good evening once again. Yeah, I'll say something about tax compliance. But first I would like to start with something they call a TIN. Someone asked about a TIN. It's going to lead to this. We all know what a NIN is, right? National ID number. So a TIN is, who knows what a TIN is? Mm-hmm.
It's tax identification number.
Wonderful. It's a tax identification number. You see now, when URA has you in the database, in their database, there has to be that number, a unique number they identify you with. So that's what? That is the TIN. That's what we call the TIN. So that your details are attached to that number. How we can easily identify you. If we are running tables, my software engineer there, it would be a primary key, that one, so that it becomes unique to each one of us. Now to go to tax compliance. Taxation is law. You see, taxation is handled by the government. And like she asked somewhere, I think she's the one who asked, you can have your rights. The authority also has its review, and what probably we hope you expect from us. But now tax compliance is abiding to these regulations, to these rules, to these laws, and moving in line with them. So basically, in basic English, that is it.
Thank you, Albert. And to summarize it all, tax compliance is about fulfilling the obligations, what you're obliged to do. And we are going to go through them, to run through them. I don't know if any of you know some obligations, but these include registering. You're obliged to register. The moment you start a business, or if you have an income source, you're obliged to register for a tax identification number. More obligations are about what you have already mentioned, paying your taxes, filing returns. Returns is about declaring your income. There is someone who said she has an online business. If you want to be a tax compliant taxpayer, you're supposed to declare, even if you don't have a physical location. It's just being compliant, doing the thing the right way. You have already mentioned all of them, actually, the obligations. Maybe we could take you through the rights. Albert, do you want to go through the rights of the taxpayers?
Which one of you knows at least one right? Something that you feel, if URA did it wrong, they would really have pressed a wrong button. None of us? Right. You are right. As a citizen. Yeah. Okay, as a citizen, okay. As a taxpayer. Okay, the very first one is a right to fair treatment. If you came and you have a similar business as her, how I'm supposed to treat you should be the same way I'm supposed to treat her. My neighbor here talked about a scenario whereby some businesses seem big and yet they are taxed small. Now, there is what we call a return. People declare differently. Someone may under-declare. Now, us as an authority, when we discover that, we come and we assess how, if it's the truth. For example, someone can wake up and say, it is maybe he deals in, maybe like he has a school. We know schools buy maybe Posho and all that. But someone wakes up and talks about things which are dealt in by maybe a hardware. It does not make logic, so we always check that. So that's one of them. I have noted them down here. And another one is a right to information or facilitation. In an event that you do not know or you are not well versed, we literally are supposed to educate you, to inform you, to let you know about how taxation moves about. Who has ever heard of the word of something to do with tax objection? Now, a tax objection works like this. You can wake up and you make a return and you declare something. Let us say, I'm going to give a scenario of, let me take a school. You wake up and you declare firewood, that it's a boarding school, and you bought firewood for cooking food for the students, and you bought firewood of 1 billion. 1 billion. Now, logically, these expenses can be allowed, and when we are calculating taxes, there are some expenses we allow them, so that your tax is not big. Now, for sure, if you have a school whose enrollment is, let us say, 500 students, firewood of 1 billion, if you woke up and you made it to appear like there, it would be a mountain. So now, these are some of these things that we do what? We disallow. Now, if for you wake up and you have proof that for sure I used firewood of 1 billion, you can object and the authority will listen to you. In an event whereby we fail to understand you, there is another step you can go to, and you keep following up until even courts of law. So that is how we handle this. Grace, you want to add something?
Okay, to add to our own rights, right? Yeah. To add to the rights, we have confidentiality. You're supposed to have that right of confidentiality. If at any time you feel like your confidentiality is being abused, you have a right to go to court. This happens whereby you might have your business records. We also have your business records with URA. If at any moment you as a business person, you find that another person who is not within URA probably has access to your maybe bank statements, about your income sources, you have a right to go to court. So you have a right to confidentiality. Your data should be protected at all times. Another right is about, let me look at it here. You have rights to refund. If you pay tax in excess of what you are supposed to pay, mistakes are human. For example, you wanted to pay 1 million and you ended up paying 10 million. You're allowed a refund. We are supposed to refund that balance. Or maybe if you are paying for Maybe if you're paying for a driving permit, you're paying 5 years, and you ended up paying maybe, you are paying for 3 years and you paid 5 years, you're allowed the refund. But that has a different process. It is a different process. Refunds are easy when you pay wrong amounts. But if you're paying 3 years and you pay 5 years, then you'll have to first pay the right 3 years, then you claim the 5 years. So you're allowed a refund. More rights. You have a right to timely service. How many of you have been to our office here in Marara or to any other URA service station? Who has been to any service station? How was the service? Yeah, so you have that right to an excellent service. You have a right to notices. We are supposed to notify you maybe if you are coming to your business for an audit, for any compliance checks. We don't just come and without communication. We are supposed to first inform you before visiting so that you also prepare yourself, prepare business records, if any. You also have a right to fair representation. And with that, they introduced the alternative dispute resolution, whereby you go and air out your concerns, if any. Albert and the team, they have a team. We have different teams. Sometimes they go and conduct assessments, and you find some taxpayers are saying they over-assessed me. My business is supposed to be 100 million, and they assessed me maybe 200 million. You have that right to get fair hearing with other bodies, ADR, Tax Appeals Tribunal. So that is your rights as a taxpayer. And that is it with rights. Do we take questions now or we take them at the end of the session?
I think at the end of the session.
Okay. So we've covered rights, we've covered obligations, and we are going to look at the different taxes. Albert, do you want to start the session? Do I continue? Okay. Someone asked about the different taxes that we expect you as taxpayers. I believe we are all taxpayers or taxpayers to be. We have different taxes. Some are monthly. You're supposed to pay them monthly. Some are annual. I'll start with the annual ones. The annual taxes that you're expected to pay as business owners are income tax. Income tax. This is on the profits that you're making as a business person who is running any business entity. Income tax is in 3 dimensions, depending on the size of the business. We have income tax for small businesses, which are below 150 million. It is called presumptive tax. Presumptive tax. Businesses between 10 million up to 150 million. Yeah, you pay according to where you lie. According to the taxation system is fair. Someone of 150 will not pay the same amount of 10 million. She had a concern about that, and we are going to air it out. Corporation tax is also a form of income tax, which is paid by companies. I don't know how many people here have companies, but when you register a company with URSB, you're expected to pay corporation tax, and it is also a form of income tax. We charge it at 30% of the profits that you have made from the business. Excuse me. We have individual income tax. This is for individuals who are not operating as companies. For example, if I go and open my shop, it is above 150 million, but it's not a company, it's my shop, it's my business. That individual, who is myself, I will pay individual income tax. Then we have pay as you earn, which is paid by salary earners. And I believe I've had a few of you here are employed as teachers, social workers. I believe some of you pay this tax. It is a monthly tax. These taxes, to go back to the compliance theme, these taxes are supposed to be paid annually, apart from payee. But before paying, you're supposed to put in a return. A return is a declaration of income. How much are you earning? You should not wait for URA to first assess you, to go into your books. As a compliant taxpayer, business holder, you're supposed to declare your income, and rightly, because if they detect some lies somewhere, that's where assessments come. And they normally come with penalties and interests. Then another form of tax that we have is rental income tax, which is paid by people who have rentals. When you open rentals, you're supposed to pay rental income tax, and it is an annual income tax on rentals. Also, income tax is in 2 dimensions. There is that income tax of rental income tax of individuals and income tax of companies. Individuals are charged at 12%, and companies are charged at a rate of 30%. This is not to discourage people who have companies with rentals, but companies are charged highly because they are allowed to deduct expenses which they used for the rentals. Maybe if you incurred taxes, if you incurred costs on security, costs on maintenance, as a company you're allowed to deduct that before subjecting your incomes to 30%. Do you need to start at that point? Then we have another form called VAT, Value Added Tax. This is paid by you, the final consumer of goods, of any good which is subjected to value added tax. So the final person who consumes the good, maybe on salt, if the tax is on sugar, you're the final consumer. You're the one who pays the tax. But as a business person who is registered for this tax is the one who collects that money and remits it to URA. So if a pack of salt is 1,000, the taxpayer, who is the business holder, may add in 200 shillings, so that you deduct that VAT from the final consumer who is going to cook that salt, and you remit it to URA at the end of every month. This is a monthly tax head. It is monthly. Then we have another form of tax called local excise duty. Local excise duty. It is paid by manufacturers, and it is paid on certain goods, not every good. We have a schedule of goods which are charged local excise duty, and these are mostly goods which the government is trying to limit consumption, including alcohol, sugar, soft drinks, and other goods, not to limit consumption, but to generate revenue, but mostly to limit consumption. Another form of income of tax that we have is gaming tax. gaming tax. For anyone who has gaming machines, lottery, pool betting, they pay gaming tax, right? Yeah. And that is it to do with the different taxes. I will not delve into certain taxes. That is it to do with the basics that you taxpayers are required to pay. To go back to compliance again, when you don't pay these taxes on time, there are issues. There are issues to do with penalties. There are issues to do with, we may go to court, we may close your business. So compliance should be at the back of everyone's mind. And compliance, like Albert mentioned, it starts with TIN registration. Even when you don't register for a TIN, you're not being compliant. The moment we force you to register, that comes with a penalty. So at the back of your mind when you're starting business, compliance. We are done with the different taxes. Filing returns, someone asked about filing returns. I think it was Alvin. It is quite practical. And I don't think we have enough time to go through it. Right now, it is practical. I see everyone has a computer almost, but that needs a session. It is about declaring your incomes. If you're registered for a monthly tax head, you declare your incomes of that specific month. If it is an annual tax head like income tax, you declare your incomes annually. But I will not go into that. It is very practical. If anyone needs a session, you can always pass by office and we'll go through it on a one-on-one basis. Someone asked about big businesses paying small taxes than smaller businesses. I don't think that is right. It is an allegation. I don't know whether you have like the business name. Yeah, we could check it out. That's what taxpayers say. No one wants to pay tax. Even me as a taxpayer, as a tax collector, I know how hard it is to pay tax. If that money was not deducted on my pay, trust me, it would be hard for me to get that money and remit it. So when a taxpayer out there is paying 1 million, they are like, no, maybe this one is paying 80,000, but you don't know the kind of business they are doing. And some businesses are exempt according to what you're dealing in, right? So just do the right thing, file your returns, pay your taxes on time, and all will be okay. Then, about compliance, we talked about filing and paying on time. Late filing calls for penalties of 200,000 or 2% of, according to which is higher. If the 200,000 is higher, we shall charge you 200,000. If you're paying a return of 200 million and you put in the return late, we shall charge you 2% because that's what is higher. So you're supposed to pay by, if you're supposed to pay by 15th, for this monthly tax heads, the deadline is by 15th. If you pay on 16th, even if it is 16th at midnight, at 1 a.m., 16th, we give you a penalty. So you're supposed to file in time and pay on time. Yeah, I think I have addressed all your expectations. Maybe we could take questions, or if Albert has anything to add, he could add it.
Maybe I can add something small. In our human nature, we always have this saying of mfunira muwa. How do I benefit from compliance, from being compliant? I'm going to give you a real life scenario which I have met in my office here in Mbara. Someone went and made a bid with UNHCR. Now, those big organizations will require you to have a tax clearance certificate. Now you will come to Albert. You want a tax clearance certificate because the other ones will not even give you that bid. Eh? They will not. So this person ended up missing that contract because of not being compliant. It is very, very important to be compliant. I've seen people, nowadays banks, you go to a bank, you want a loan for a business. Maybe you want to add something to your business. They are going to ask you for a tax clearance certificate that you don't have. You see how you miss money? So we have a way we benefit. Eh? So being compliant is really, really good. You get a chance to have a tax clearance certificate. Tomorrow you will want, I've seen people who have wanted to move outside the country, but they are not paying their taxes. That visa you will not get. You will not get. Now imagine you are very sick, you need around 200 million to go to India, you have a tax of around 200 million. You see how you will die here. You will start coming, please, please, I will pay when I come back. Even though you are awarded that clearance based on that, the inconvenience is not worth it. I had noted down some of these benefits. Oftentimes, actually, Grace, I think, isn't it annually when we award the best taxpayers? Yeah, annually. Yes, we always award them. You get a heavy thing, eh? So they are also awards. No, it depends. Oftentimes it is cash. Oftentimes it is cash. Yes? They award. Yeah.
They give them exemptions according to the size of the business.
Because of being compliant. Yeah, we have them here in Mbara. Actually, they even have certificates. That certificate is very important. Eh?
When you have that tax clearance certificate, trust me, you will not fail to get it either.
Yeah, there are even these. Yeah, it's very, very important. Another advantage is you become law abiding. Eh? The law sees you on the right side of it, of the law. Let me use that English. And lastly, you don't get to miss good contracts. Most contracts, it is important that you be when you are paying your taxes.
I wanted Albert to add on the costs, because you're normally the ones who issue those costs. The costs of non-compliance.
One of the things that happens when you are not compliant, let me give a scenario. You delay to file your return. There's going to be a penalty. Now imagine you don't file a return of around, let me begin by asking you a question. What is a return? Okay.
Isn't it a declaration of how much I'm making?
Okay. A return is how you declare, literally, what you've declared as your income. Now, when you don't declare, the very first thing that happens is that I will sit up there, I will know you have not declared, I'll come and I will assess you. And oftentimes I will assess higher, so that you come you say, no, let us talk. In an event, you don't come and say, let us talk, you'll pay higher. That is one. Two, when you delay, you get a penalty. Now, a penalty, let me give an example. Someone who was supposed to pay, to make a return of 2023, 2024, and they did not make it. And you wake up and we make it now. It will come with a penalty. And on top of that, for late filing, it will also come with the interest because you will have not yet paid. Something not good at all. So basically, the authority tries oftentimes to listen. You know, we do respect that this revenue comes from businesses. Sometimes some are struggling and all that. We do listen. So in an event that you cannot maybe file a return, let me say, remember the scenario where network was off during the election period, when a cable was cut somewhere in the Indian Ocean. Yes, that's the official communication we got. The people who did not file returns, the authority was very lenient on them. Fines were not put. In an event that you have a challenge and you can't file, and you just have to come to office there, we shall help you do it. So really, there is no reason why you shouldn't file. It is very, very important that you comply.
A moment. To add to Albert, before questions come in, I hope you're now aware that the TIN and the NIN are going to be linked, right? So that whoever has a bank account, we have their information with URA. So previously, non-compliant taxpayers were getting what we call, what is this? Agency notices. Agency notice is whereby if I'm demanding Alvin 100 million worth of tax, and I know Alvin has an account in Centenary, Stanbic, Stanchart, and those accounts have money. Me as an officer in URA, I will write to those banks, deduct that money and remit it to URA. And those banks have no right to refuse. They have no right. So if you're not compliant, then we might take that road. We have another thing which we call distress proceedings. If you have a business, maybe you failed to pay your taxes, you've been declaring that you have income, but you're not paying taxes. We'll come to your business. We do not normally like going that way, but sometimes we are forced to. We'll come to that business, get your stock, sell it, and recover our money. But we don't want that way. Or we will go to court. And if we go to court, we'll get any other thing that is in your name, and we take it up and recover the money. We also have denial of tax clearance certificates. I have seen it here several times at office. People crying real tears, but you have nothing to do. Someone has not paid taxes in 2, 3, 4 years, and they want the tax clearance certificate. And they have a big deal coming up, but you will not give it to them. They will not grant you that clearance certificate. You're not paying your taxes, you're not filing your returns. At least you file a nil return. Someone had asked about a question of, if I'm not yet operating, you file a nil return, say I have no income, than not filing at all. If you don't file for us, we'll file for you. We'll give you assessments, default assessments. And removing that default assessment is also not cheap. We also do caveats. URA has a right to put a caveat on your property. If you have failed to pay your taxes, which we are demanding from you, you might have a plot of land, maybe in Barra or wherever, And you know all plots of land are registered with URA. We know their locations. So if a taxpayer has failed to pay, URA can register a caveat which stops the owner of the land from selling their land if they want to use it. Maybe if you want to use it to get a loan, you will not get a loan if URA has put a caveat on that plot of land. I think also there is a shame list. Who has seen a shame list in the newspapers, which they normally publish it at the end of the financial year, listing companies which have not paid their taxes? And if you land on that shame list and you're a big company, let me give an example of like Movit. Imagine Movit or Stanbic Holdings being on that list, shame list. So, please, tax compliance. And I believe we have responded to all your expectations. Maybe if there are any other questions, we can take them.
Thank you so much for the presentation. You said if not complying, then let's assume the business is not compliant and you assess and then you draw a conclusion of how much it is supposed to be paying. What if it is in that period unable to pay? What are the next steps? And also, is it okay if businesses, what if they are unable to pay? Is it okay for you to close them? At the end of the day, it seems as if we do need them in the economy. What about thinking through the options and finding ways of how it can be stabilized without closure? Sometimes you give penalties that are too high for someone to pay. That usually happens.
Okay. We receive all of them at once?
Yeah, let's receive them and respond.
Thank you. Mine is, who qualifies for tax exemption?
So for me, I would like to know, you did not give us the percentage for individual income tax. In instances when, like, you're just starting up, is there a possibility that you cannot pay taxes? Like, you're literally just, maybe you have started small and you're growing a business and you're not yet able to pay taxes. Is it allowed? And about that individual income tax, what is the percentage and how is it arrived at?
Thank you. One is why the long chain of taxes. For example, the buyer who is assisting the seller to pay tax on the goods. Why the long chain of taxes? For example, the buyer who is assisting the seller to get money to pay taxes. Then who faces the repercussions of non-compliance in case an employer is not remitting taxes for employees? Then there are exceptions, especially for beginners who are really not yet earning a lot and are trying to gain ground in their businesses. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Another question?
Then there is this incident of the product you're selling comes from, let's say, Dubai. So the person who imports pays taxes. The one who, the wholesaler also pays taxes. How is it for the retailer? Is it looked at as overtaxing or?
I think her issue is about taxes being paid multiple times on the same goods. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. My issue is about the TIN number. I was working for a certain organization and we were required to generate TIN numbers. But then it was a part-time job, but then you have the TIN numbers. Are we still being taxed over?
Another question. Okay. Looks like we are very tax curious.
For me, still about closure. If you close it, can't I just reopen? I mean, we still have the teams, the people you are working with. Can't I just reopen it if you close it down? And what is the mechanism of closure?
Another question. Hey, taxes. Okay.
What's the percentage on hotels? Percentage on hotels. Hotels.
A percentage tax on hotels. I also have my questions. I don't know whether the questions are done. Well, mine would be, you talked about the penalties for the taxes, and you say that when someone pays past the deadline, maybe it's 15th and they pay 16th, there's a penalty of increase in the tax they have to pay. So my question is, how much does this increase come in? Do you increase per day? On 16th you increase, and 17th and 18th, on a daily basis till the person pays? And my other question is, you talked about the tax clearance, and you said someone could come and they are sick and they're not allowed to go outside for medication because they didn't pay their taxes. I needed some clarification on that. And I don't know that the questions are done. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay, I'll start with the question about someone who is unable to pay their tax liability at the time of assessment. Albert talked about something to do with objection. If you feel like the tax which they have assessed you, here we are supposed to assess ourselves. Remember, you're supposed to assess yourself as a business owner. If you wait for URA to assess you, normally it goes the wrong way. So you're supposed to object. You object, you put in your objection and say, no, my tax is not supposed to be 10 million, it's not supposed to be 1 million, it is supposed to be 100,000. You're allowed to object, and if your objection is allowed, then you will pay that amount of money which you're saying is the right tax. So you're allowed to object, but it has a timeline. Within 30 days, if you exceed 30 days before objecting, then it means that you have accepted the tax, the amount of tax which was assessed. So if you want to object after assessment, you're not supposed to exceed 30 days. If you exceed 30 days, we take it that you have accepted the assessment and you're going to pay the tax. Qualifications for tax exemptions. The qualifications are quite, I wouldn't think that any of us in this room, including myself, I don't think I can qualify for a tax exemption because they have a minimum investment, capital investment of 500 million US dollars. 500 million US dollars. So if you have an investment that large, which is in an industrial park, and we don't have industrial parks in Barra. So if your investment is in an industrial park and it is 500 million US dollars, then you qualify for an exemption. However, there are some investors, especially foreign investors, who are normally given exemption to encourage investment in Uganda. But that also has a minimum investment capital. So exemption is, I would not go there. It has a very big investment. options. I don't know what this was about. Someone asked about the percentage of individual income tax. Individual income tax is it is in bands. It is according to. It is also like pay as you earn. You're charged according to how much you're earning, though it is individual income tax. So it is almost like pay, though it is also annual. It is annual, just like corporation, but the bands are like for pay, and the amounts start from 2.82 million. So if your income is above 2.82 million per year, annually, 2.82 million, that is 235,000 per month. So if your income is above that amount, then you pay according to how much you're earning, and I wouldn't want to go through those percentages. There are about 5 bands up to 30%, between 10 to 30%. Yeah. Do you want to respond to any question?
No, however, I'll talk slightly about exemptions again. She has given a very good explanation about them, but I'll also talk about a few things about them. You see, soldiers, police, military personnel, and these people who hold guns, they don't pay tax. Their salary is given to them the way it is. They don't pay as you earn. That is an exemption. People who earn less than 235,000, they're exempted. They don't pay tax. There are these small businesses whereby you find someone does not make an income of 10 million annually. They're exempted. These people don't pay tax. So those are a few examples. But the government really looks at startups. Someone talked about startups. They look at startups and they really give them a chance.
Another question was about someone who registered 18 when he was doing part-time work. When you're registering for teens, we normally ask for income sources. If your income source is employment especially, the rest we expect you to either file your return or pay tax, or both. So since your teen was for employment, then we also be observing. We also know that this teen was for employment. Maybe this period is not in employment, this period he was. We also be analyzing the trends, and I believe there is no liability if you're not supplying anything. If you supply anything, I did not talk about withholding tax. Withholding tax is also a form of tax, though I did not talk about it. It is indirect. When you make a supply, for example, this lady who supplies perfumes, if you make a supply to someone who is a withholding agent, at my end, I will see that this person made a supply of 1 million. You might not know that this person declared you. So that's why I'm asking if you did not supply anything. If you supply anything, it reflects on your tin that you supplied goods of this amount. So if you didn't supply anything, there is no liability on your tin. And your tin is still active. Even if there is a deactivation by URA, we first contact you before we deactivate your tin. He still asked about the percentage of tax on hotels. Hotels are charged income tax, you pay income tax. If the hotel is registered as a company, you pay income tax of 30%. If it is an individual, you pay according to how much you're earning in income. Then you're also supposed to pay for your staff if you have any, and I believe there is no hotel which can operate without staff. At least you will have cleaners, you will have managers, whatever, attendants. Then some hotels are exempt from value-added tax, but goods supplied by hotels, that is food, accommodation, we charge them value-added tax of 18% on food and accommodation. But hotels which are upcountry is, I think, starting from PG, coming this side, they are normally not charged value-added tax on accommodation. That value-added tax is only charged on goods and any other services which are provided by the hotel. Someone talked about closure. I only wrote closure. I didn't write, you're the one who asked about closure. We do not normally go into closure unless it is really necessary, because we are also trying to foster businesses. I'll give an example of Mbarara. Our office here in Mbarara, we have a target of 42 billion annually. So if we go about and close maybe this entire building, where shall we get the 42 billion? So we do not normally go that direction unless it is really, 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 really necessary. And we haven't made any closures. But when we are collecting from small businesses, we normally do closures, but for a short time, not that close and go home, never come back. No, we close you until you pay, if you have failed to pay. I'll come to your business and assess you 100,000, and you don't have it there and then. I'll say, okay, you close. Tomorrow you look for it. I'll come back and open you. But normally we don't close instantly. I'll come to your shop, like today is 8th. I come to your shop on 8th. I give you an assessment of maybe 100,000 and tell you, please pay the 100,000 within 3 weeks. If you don't pay within 3 weeks, I'll come back to enforce my payment. If you have not paid within 3 weeks, I will close, but briefly. And if you open yourself, you get a penalty of double the tax. If I had assessed you 100,000, then you will pay 200,000. If you open without a URA official opening for you, or you also risk prosecution. Repercussions of failure to pay, the repercussions lie with the employer, because we expect the employer to withhold that amount of tax and pay it to URA by the 15th of the following month. For example, by 15th next week, I think it will be a Monday, Tuesday, a Thursday, we expect all employers to be making those payments. However, you as an employee also, you have a responsibility of coming to URA and checking and to see whether they are making those payments. I have seen cases where an employee who is in the private sector has gotten a job with government and they want to claim their NSSF. NSSF will not pay you your benefits if URA does not see returns in the system. Have you got that? If URA does not see your employer paying payee, NSSF will not pay you your benefits, which you have saved for all those years, if your employer had not been paying payee. So you as an employee, once in a while, pass by URA, you check and see, are they making my payments? Make us busy. Pass by and make us busy. Let's check for you. Or you also can pass by and we show you how you can check from the comfort of your home. Most of those things you can do them in the comfort of your home without coming to URA. I did understand the question about the long chain of tax. I don't know whether you understood it. Long chain of tax. I did not get it. before they can put their product on market. Then there is maybe a retailer who buys and is selling from one to the final consumer, who is the buyer. Why is the buyer also paying tax somehow buying this product from maybe a shop? Okay. Like I mentioned at first, there are different taxes in between there. The manufacturer pays local excise duty. There is no one of us here who pays local excise duty. That is the duty of the manufacturer. You, the person who is doing business, you pay income tax. The consumer will not pay income tax again. Yeah? It is like taxes are in different levels of production and consumption. The taxpayer, you, the individual who is taking the goods home, you will pay VAT. But this VAT, normally what I've seen is that people mistake VAT as a tax which is paid by the shopkeeper, the business keeper. No, it's not you who is paying that money. You're just remitting it. You're just getting it from me, the consumer, paying it. But what I have seen, the fact that the business person is the one making the payment, they feel like it's coming from their business, which is not the case. It's not from your business. You're collecting it from the consumer. Do you want to add to that?
Maybe let me give you a real life scenario. You're a manufacturer of kombucha, isn't it? Assuming you're a manufacturer of, let us say, soda, Coca-Cola. Oh, now as Coca-Cola, you are going to pay local excise duty, isn't it? Now he comes and buys it as a wholesaler from you. He is supposed to pay. For you paid local excise duty, it's different. Now, when you are giving him, let us say, an invoice, there is that figure which they withhold. You are supposed to withhold. Literally, when you withhold, that is like his credit. He can literally demand it from URA. Now, this is something that wholesalers don't always follow up, or manufacturers sometimes cheat these people, they don't do it. But when you withhold, literally that tax, that figure which you've withheld goes as a credit on him. He can actually request it as a refund. So basically, URA does not double tax.
I'm talking about it appears on your ledger. Study who is buying a pen from the shop down there at 500 maybe instead of 400 because there is that VAT addition. Why is that the tax payment chain so long? Why doesn't it stop somewhere? Because why is the buyer paying tax? Why is the buyer paying tax? They are trying to.
Let me give you've talked of a pen at 500. If I may ask you a question, who sets the price of the pen at 500?
I don't know. Let me be honest.
Okay. Now, you see, what always happens is a manufacturer factors in his costs of production and then makes it at around 500. Now, for you, when you come, you will think it is something to do with taxes that have raised it. Oftentimes, it's not like that. It's actually not like that. These costs that you see of the final product, it is because the manufacturer has put in that ex-factory price, the price of every unit that he has put in.
I think she'll contact you to maybe more understand what she's having curiosity about. I'll thank our dear guests. We have a question.
For the benefit of time and to make sure that we don't stay here the whole day.
And it's getting dark.
I suggest that we grab a tea, and during the tea time, we can all, during the tea break, we can all ask our questions during that time. Like we can have one-on-one with them, okay, and ask all these questions. Otherwise, I feel like we are going to spend the whole night here, okay, and we really have a very short time. So my suggestion is we grab a tea, and then we can have a discussion over the tea, all right? But before we have a tea, can we have a group photo? We have a group photo, and then we can have a more discussion on that. And before I want to take this opportunity to thank our guests from URA. Really thank you. And I believe we have learned a lot from their discussions. And I believe next time you hear about something like tax, you are not going to get surprised. Yeah? Yeah, if you still have a lot of questions to ask, please, you can reach out to them. And they are located here, actually. And you can always reach out to them. Like they said, make them busy. Yeah? With those few, thank you all. Thank you, our dear guests. And thank you, the community as well, for coming by and asking the questions. And I believe these questions will help us to build businesses that can really scale. Let us all come for a group photo. And yeah, we can go for our tea. Thank you.
Shopping center isima shopping center nashanga umurembo rwita rwambara umutaxi park naguze ibintu nyamingi ebirumu perfumes, handbags, capes, watches, toys z'abana bato, necklaces, earrings, belts, lipsticks, wallets. Wenda kumenya bikukiraho enamba yo ziri hano ejo kuba nomutera imbasaka n'umukwatagana.